Good afternoon. Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to the first attempt for me to run a weekly prediction of who's going to win NFL games. This is going to be my Thursday countdown leading into this week's games, Week 7. Man, we're already so far into the NFL season, and I am viciously behind. But with work and trying to do a bunch of other stuff, which will be talked about on a future podcast, I have just been bound up. But today, I am going to run through my Thursday predictions right here at Interverse Uncharted for our NFL Week 7 predictions. Let's get into them. Everybody, welcome back from the nifty new football intro as we kick off Week 7 NFL predictions. I should have been doing this all year, but as I'll talk about in a later podcast, just had a lot going on. Lots of new projects, ambitions, passions, hopes, goals, all sorts of stuff, trying to accomplish some things. But we're going to try to start making more time for this, as I really do love doing this. I really love trying to have this creative output. So we're going to get back to doing this as much as we can. Sorry about not being around very much, but let's try to get past that and get into our Week 7 NFL predictions right now. Starting with Thursday Night Football tonight, Jags at Saints. I'm going Jags over Saints. With or without Trevor Lawrence, who I know is a game-time decision, I just feel more confident in the consistency of the Jags, even though they haven't looked great. But I think the Saints have also not looked very good, not very consistent. Kamara's obviously doing some nifty new stuff, but I think that the Jags are going to go up over the Saints here today. Raiders at Bears. Raiders all day. Not just because I'm a Packers fan, but because the Bears just look completely run down, completely beat. They just can't get any sort of traction. I know everybody in Chicago and Bears fans wanted it to be a Justin Fields generation. It's not all his fault. There is O-line problems, defensive problems, play calling problems, all sorts of stuff like that, but we can't just keep shoving it off everywhere else. The Bears are not good, and I think this year proves it. They better draft a quarterback in the offseason, and I think Raiders are just going to clean up on them this weekend. Raiders over Bears. Browns at Colts. That Browns defense looks tremendous. They made easy work of the 49ers. I mean, I say easy, but they just held them down. The Niners have been scoring a lot of points, and they just held them down and essentially beat them into the dirt, made sure they weren't scoring points. They lost CMC and Debo that game, assuming that the Niners can get healthy, which we'll talk about later. That might change their outlook. But I think the Browns are going to beat the Colts. Richardson out for the year. I just don't have as much faith in the Colts offense or their defense. Their running game is obviously pretty off-putting with Jonathan Taylor being back, but not necessarily being the primary runner right now. I'm going Browns over Colts. Bills at Patriots. Man, you guys, the years of the Patriots being a championship threat are well and behind us. There's talk from Robert Kraft about possibly moving on from Bill Belichick. It's time. I think it is time. The Patriots fans are telling you. The NFL media is telling you. Sports media in general is telling you. The fans are all telling you. It is time to move on from Bill Belichick. With that being said, I'm going Bills over Patriots. The Bills are also trigger happy this year. They like to kind of be on the run. They're not thinking a lot of plays through their running gun. Definitely looks like some reckless Josh Allen this year. I think that'll pay off this game. I think Bills over Patriots. Commanders over Giants, or Commanders at Giants. I'm going Commanders, obviously. The Giants are beat up, beat down, run out, absolute hot garbage. Their quarterback situation is a mess. I would take Tyrod and start him this week over Daniel Jones, healthy or not. Tyrod Taylor looked way better last week than Daniel Jones has looked all year and gave them an opportunity to win a game last week against the Bills. Would have been a big deal for them to win. I think the Giants got screwed that last play. There was still holding in the end zone. They should have gotten a second untimed down. But whatever's behind us is behind us. I think the Commanders are going to make light work of the Giants this week. Let's go to Falcons at Bucks. I don't keep up with both teams very much, but I do know that the Bucks don't look as good as the Tom Brady era Bucks, and the Falcons have hit or miss games. Desmond Ridder with 3 interceptions last week is obviously rough. All of that being said, I know Baker's looking better, kind of looking a little bit more at home, a little more comfortable with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I am going to go Falcons over Bucks. I just got this hunch. I got this feeling. Kyle Pitts has had 2 good games back and forth. London's starting to look like a reliable wide receiver. I think if Ridder can tighten it up, they're going to get those Bucks this week. The Bucks still have a lot of good weapons, but I think this young Falcons team has an opportunity to stamp on and move through. So I'm going to go Falcons over Bucks. Lions at Ravens. Now, all those East Coast games are going to have bad weather. I heard that there's up over 20-mile-an-hour winds at all of these East Coast games. So Patriots, Giants, Ravens, the Eagles game, which we'll talk about later, they're all supposed to have really ridiculous winds, possibly some rain, stuff like that. Is going to change the outlooks of these games. But I think that the Lions are going to beat the Ravens. It's a tight one. That one's a tough call. It's a tough decision. I think both teams look really good. The Ravens show some inconsistency at times, as do the Lions. The Lions' run game is kind of beat up right now, but I have faith in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jared Goff is starting to look like he loves football again. He loves winning again. And the Lions' defense is stand up at this point. It's doing an amazing job. I think the Ravens have a tendency of being overhyped for all of the awesome talent that they do have on that team. I think that they're going to look past these Lions. I think the Lions are going to beat the Ravens at home. Packers at Broncos. I'm going to be at that game. I have a bunch of friends going to that game. My brother's going to that game. Got a bunch of people going to this game here in Denver this week. I'm going Packers over Broncos. That Broncos defense looks like wet paper and Swiss cheese, just an absolute mess of hot garbage. Russ looks okay compared to last year. You can't put it all on Russ. They have a really good offense, but they're still not putting points on the board. Sean Payton is not executing the exact way that we would have thought he would. The man who had Drew Brees for 10 seasons and only won Super Bowl, it's a tough call, right? But I'm going that Jordan Love gets back on track this week here in Denver. Packers over Broncos. Steelers at Rams. I'm going to go Rams. The Steelers still look really inconsistent. The Rams obviously have their slips too, but I think with Cooper Kupp being back, it's really tough to deny the offensive weaponry that the Rams have. And the Steelers just are too inconsistent. Even their win over the Ravens should have won that game a bunch of times, hence my comment about them being inconsistent as well. I think the Steelers don't have the guns to outplay the Rams. I think the Rams are going to win at home. Cardinals at Seahawks. The Cardinals are hot garbage. I think that their good years are behind them. Kyler Murray is obviously being shopped and stuff like that elsewhere. I think that the Seahawks, while they also have some weird inconsistencies, I love their run game. I think Walker is amazing. They still have 2 amazing receivers in Lockett and Metcalf. Metcalf throwing some weird tantrums the last couple weeks. Don't necessarily know what that's about, but still, I still think that they're going to pull it off. I think Seahawks over the Cardinals is going to be the outcome. Let's go Chargers at Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to pull this one out. The Chargers still show obviously some potential, but last week, obviously giving up the win in the last few minutes of that game, last drive of that game. I feel like in general the Chiefs are still more well-rounded. Mecole Hardman coming back over from the Jets to the Chiefs this week. McColl's going to get a touchdown in there too. Patty is going to try everything he can to make them look good. With Taylor Swift always watching, Travis Kelce is going to be on fire. As always, Chiefs over Chargers. Let's get to the Sunday night game. Dolphins at Eagles. This one's a tough one. Again, bad weather on the coast. Eagles losing to the Jets in a weird contest. The Dolphins look amazing. I want to say the Dolphins, but I'm going to play the safe card this one. I'm going to say the Eagles. I don't like the Eagles, and I definitely do not want them to win necessarily, but I think they're going to come back out of this week with the loss to the Jets and try to punish the Dolphins and get back on track. I'm going to go bad weather Eagles over the Dolphins. The Monday night game, man, this one's going to be a barn burner. 49ers at Vikings. The Vikings, again, in my own division, hot garbage. Absolute hot trash. I think their year is just about behind them. By the time Justin Jefferson gets off of IR, it is going to be too late for those Vikings to get truly back on track. Run game doesn't look the same with Mattson over Cook. Cook was obviously kind of on the downfall, hence he's playing second string for the Jets. I just don't have the faith in the Vikings that I would have last season or the year before when they looked pretty dominant in that division. They just do not look that way this year. I think the best of their years behind them. While also NFL analysis and all of them are all saying that Niners defense looks legit. The Browns made that absolutely look incorrect. Purdy was not on fire last week, but similarly to the Eagles, I think that those 49ers are going to be looking for revenge this week, and they're going to beat down a wounded Vikings team to get back on track. We're going to look for Debo to get involved if we can get Debo back. I don't know what's going on with his health. I know CMC is essentially day-to-day, over and over and over right now for that oblique injury, but it looks optimistic. I think Purdy gets back on track. He needs to get Kittle involved if he wants to get points on the board. Last week it was dismal, and my fantasy team suffered the consequences of that. But I think if they can get together, get gelling, get Brandon Ayuk involved, keep getting Kittle back in as much as you can, rely on the run game where you can, even without CMC, get Elijah Mitchell involved, I think the Niners are going to whoop on the Vikings. That's how I think that's going to go. All right, guys. Again, quick summary. Jags over Saints. Raiders over Bears. Browns over Colts. Bills over Patriots. Commanders over Giants. Falcons over Bucks. Lions over Ravens. Packers over Broncos. Rams over Steelers. Seahawks over Cardinals. Chiefs over Chargers. Eagles over Dolphins. And Niners over Vikings. I only picked 4 home teams to win this week. Only 4 home teams. That's pretty outlandish. I didn't notice it until I was done writing out all of my predictions before doing this physical cast. But I think this is going to be an away week for sure. The away teams are going to beat up on some of these home teams and try to crush a lot of momentum going forward. As always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Drop some comments about who you guys think are going to win. Let's see which of us can get the closest to all of our predictions correct. Hopefully, I get all of them. Hopefully, you guys get all of them. Hopefully, we all figure all this out. And hopefully, we have another absolutely fun week of watching football. Hopefully, there's not very many injuries this week. We want to see some healthy, good, clean old football. Gotta love this time of year. It is mid-October. Halloween is closing in. Football season is hot, and let's keep it going. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, as always. And be sure to do more than just exist, guys, and come with me into the Uncharted. Happy football weekend, guys. Go Pack, go.